The Afghan capital is blanketed in black and white. The Taliban flag flies on every street, and around each corner, Taliban checkpoints and patrols keep a close eye on their newly conquered country, stopping, searching, and questioning, hunting for enemies of the new Islamic Emirate. And so, for 3 months, Mohammed Ismail and his family hid.
I'm becoming scared right now.
Last summer, as the Taliban advanced across Afghanistan, Ismail, his wife, and 8-year-old son fled their home in Kandahar, leaving everything behind except for a couple of bags containing their most prized possessions. These folders full of photographs from Ismail's time with the Canadian Armed Forces. For 6 years, he was in charge of security at Canada's military base in Kandahar. The Canadians nicknamed Ismail Captain Smiley. Why Captain Smiley?
Captain Smiley, like all the time I smiling, and they call me like Smiley, and yeah, in the camp.
Why were you smiling all the time?
And that's be like I'm a happy guy, and like all the time happy.
But while Ismail was all smiles, his was serious work. Besides monitoring security on the base, he also led the Canadians on patrols outside the wire. They came under Taliban attack many times. Once, Ismail's vehicle was hit by a Taliban bomb. He survived, but his older brother, Abdul Kahir, was killed on patrol.
These guys were performing these services at tremendous personal risk to themselves.
Canadian Randy Scott worked alongside Ismail in Kandahar, and the two became close. They conducted patrols and delivered food and blankets to the local population.
Randy is a great person. He's a great guy.
He was instrumental in helping to keep everything secure and safe around the base where all of the Canadians operated out of. And he and his security force out there were directly in the front line of potential risks. So they saved our bacon on more than one occasion.
10 years later, Scott and the other vets would have a chance to return the favor. As the Taliban advanced last summer, Ismail's family received approval to move to Canada as refugees. He was told to leave his home in Kandahar and make the 10-hour drive to Kabul, where the Canadian government was sending a rescue flight. But they arrived at the airport to this: thousands of desperate Afghans standing between Ismail and his escape. He recorded this video outside the airport, standing for hours waist-deep in sewage water, crying out to the Canadian soldiers inside the gates for help.
Many times I call them, hey, I'm a Captain Smiley, I have my visa, but they never look at it that side. What can I say? I feeling very bad. Like I thinking before of that, I work with Canadian forces. I very enjoy this time. Why not doing nothing for us? I feel very bad. And that time, I feel very bad.
Ismail planned to return to the airport with his family to try again the next day. But that morning, he received a message from some Canadian veterans warning about a possible terrorist attack against the airport. So Ismail stayed away and was grateful he did. Within hours, ISIS-K suicide bombers and gunmen attacked the crowds outside the airport, killing dozens of civilians and 13 U.S. troops. And that was right where you were standing the day before?
Yes, that one standing the day before, the same spot I standing there. Like I be there, I be die.
After the attack, international flights were effectively frozen, so Ismail and his family hid at this safe house, which was urgently organized by Canadian veterans groups, part of a secret network of apartments and hotels housing hundreds of Afghans who'd supported Canada's military mission, now afraid to go outside, terrified the Taliban would find them. As the weeks rolled by, Randy Scott was in constant contact from his home near Vancouver.
Just being in touch to understand what his circumstances were, to try and keep his spirits buoyed. I know he was terribly concerned for his wife and his son. It was very tense. Very scary time.
At one point, Taliban officials visited the safe house, seen here on surveillance video entering the lobby. They spoke to the hotel manager, but didn't check the rooms where Ismail's family was hiding with his photographs of the Canadian military.
My windows is close with the road. I look at it all night. All night I never sleep.
After 3 months in hiding, Ismail's family saw a chance to escape. A Canadian NGO called the Veterans Transition Network hired a team to drive some of the Afghans with Canadian visas out of the country to Pakistan. A treacherous trek through the mountains and past more than a dozen Taliban checkpoints.
Okay, hold on.
Ismail and his family sat in the back seat and held their breath as their car was stopped by the Taliban.
Assalamu alaikum.
There is a money checkpoint, like I becoming very nervous.
Finally, after 6 hours, they arrived at the border and crossed into Pakistan.
He contacted me as soon as he got into Islamabad, and he knew that his wife and his son were safe. And we talked on a video, and well, we cried together out of relief that he and his family were safe. Okay? Is it working? Mohammed! Assalamu alaikum.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. I'm very happy to see you. I talked to him in a video call. Like I feel very good. Like I try to hug him, and that's be very, and I'm very happy.
After their long journey across the border, Ismail and his family checked into this hotel in the Pakistani capital, joined by dozens of others who also supported Canada's military campaign, including interpreters, cooks, mechanics, and their families.
3.
Most spend a few weeks in Islamabad before finally booking their ticket for a new life in Canada. Captain Smiley was living up to his name.
I very enjoy it. I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
But as he heads to the airport in Islamabad to catch a flight to Toronto, Ismail's heart is heavy, his mind on those left behind in Afghanistan.
What does it feel like to leave your home in the hands of the Taliban?
Very bad. What do you think? It's so hard, like, that's so hard for each person. 20 years, each person hard worker. They build them that country. Some guys be coming, they destroy for 5 minutes like that.
Mohammed Ismail fled his home in Kandahar with one of his most prized possessions. This book, given to him in 2011 as a gift from Canadian soldiers. They signed their names with messages of thanks. Inside, stunning photographs of Canada. Ismail had long imagined what it would be like to step into these pages, to leave everything behind and start a new chapter in Canada. Now that dream is suddenly within sight.
I coming down from the hotel, like I thinking I'm in a dream.
Ismail, his wife Pahima, and their 8-year-old son Imat just completed their 2-week quarantine. Emerging from their Toronto airport hotel for some fresh air and breathing easier after escaping Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. For many years, I was afraid the Taliban would come and kill my husband, Pahima says. Now I wake up feeling happy, knowing my family is in a safe country. For 6 years, Ismail, aka Captain Smiley, lived and worked alongside Canadian troops, like Warrant Officer Joe Lavoie.
We protected them, they protected us, but they protected us more so, right?
Lavoie remembers first meeting Ismail in 2010. They bonded on the base while playing with the toy, Lavoie's remote control car, which provided much needed respite from long, dangerous days on patrol.
Guys like Smiley, like they provided us a safe haven and kind of directed us where to go, just to keep, just like for myself, like to bring all my guys home.
Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
We met Ismail and his son outside their hotel and offered to take them for a tour of their new home city.
Is there anything you want to do? Anything you want to see?
Just like I want to see in the city, that's the area, that's be good for us.
Before escaping to Canada, Ismail and his family had never left Afghanistan, never seen a skyscraper, a streetcar, or even a squirrel.
Green, eh?
Yeah, it's very green in Canada.
Yeah, and soon it'll be very white.
Yeah, very white, yeah. I see city, a tall building.
Yeah, very tall buildings.
Yeah.
That one's the tallest. This is Canadian music.
Yeah, that's good, I like it.
Is anyone afraid of heights? Because it's very high. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, Canada.
Canada is a very beautiful country. It's very safe, Emat says. I don't hear gunshots anymore. After reaching new heights, we went looking for a taste of home.
Okay.
Kandahar kebab. Are you hungry?
Familiar food,
Taste is good.
though this was his son's first time eating it with a fork.
Yes.
That was good. Good work.
Followed by their first subway ride, their first hockey game, their first time navigating a traffic light,
Ready?
White
Let's go.
even their first winter toque.
Welcome to Canada. You need a toque in Canada.
I very enjoy it now in Canada, in Toronto. It's good city, good place, very clean, green, and everything is awesome.
Awesome and overwhelming. Almost everything here is foreign, unfamiliar, and Ismail can't read English. He only learned to speak a little during his time with the Canadian military.
Yeah, it's very different, and that's really hard. Like I don't know. There is a dentist right here. There is a school right there. I don't know nothing.
The family will receive some support finding a home and a school. The government gave them each $50 upon arrival, which is all the money they have, and their housing costs will be covered through a loan for 1 year. After that, they're on their own. Wahadat Wish knows the feeling.
At that time when I arrived, there was no one to help me.
The former interpreter moved to Toronto with his family in 2011.
I cannot tell you how much happy I was.
But that initial high was followed by a long low. For 8 years, he struggled to find steady work. So did the other refugees he met, most of whom moved back to Afghanistan.
I was lost. I went to depression. I was sitting all day home. I took a lot of pills, medication. I faced a lot of problems, sir. A lot of troubles, a lot of problems.
But a couple of years ago, Wish got a full-time job, and his situation improved, thanks in part to support from an old friend.
Excellent. Assalamu alaikum.
Respect to you. How are you, my friend? Good to see you after a long time, sir.
Both Wish and Ismail worked alongside Canadian Randy Scott in Kandahar. They connected over Zoom near his home in Abbotsford and reminisced, like the time Scott dressed up as Santa Claus to bring a little Christmas cheer to the base.
That's
Oh, it
like
was
a
fun.
beard and a red head.
Some of the local guys was asking, what happened to this person? What happened to him?
Yeah, Santa Claus.
Why is he wearing this kind of clothes? Like, the people are not familiar with Santa Claus.
Scott is part of a network of volunteers supporting Afghan refugees. Within days of Ismail arriving in Toronto, Scott connected him with Wish, who offered to help.
I'm very happy. Like what can I say in
cannot hug you.
Yeah, I can.
Hug each other for me.
Yeah.
And that's as good as a hug for me right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Grateful to be reunited in Canada, but their conversation quickly turns to those still trapped in Afghanistan.
There's so many friends that have been left behind there.
Yes, of course, so many left behind. There's like every day I thinking about those people.
Hundreds of Afghans who supported the Canadian military hid for months in these safe houses in Kabul, some waiting for approval to go to Canada, others already approved, but with no safe route out of the country. Earlier this month, most of the safe houses closed due to lack of funding, and the Afghans were kicked out onto the street.
From Canada government, my request to please help to those people. They left behind.
The Canadian government promised to accept 40,000 Afghan refugees. So far, fewer than 4,000 have arrived in Canada.
But I think the Canadian government could be doing a whole lot more than what is being done. We owe them a great deal.
And Scott says that debt extends to those, like Ismail, who've made it here to Canada, but still need help.
And there's services and there's some funding available and things like that. But it takes a community to help welcome them and to help them to become established and to get back up on their feet, as it were.
Ismail's Canadian community now includes Wish, veterans like Scott, and Joe Lavoie.
Captain Smiley.
I remember.
Lavoie was reunited with his old friend at this veteran-run coffee shop south of Toronto, along with fellow ex-soldier Sergeant Dave Ward. Even their remote-control toy car made an appearance.
We were thinking, oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. You want to hold on? It was a little bit. It was in a little bit better shape when it was over there, believe it or not.
The men shared a coffee and plenty of memories from their time together.
It was truly an honor working with you
Yeah.
and your teams.
Those memories come flourishing back, and Captain Smiley coming and just reigniting those memories just makes me happy as anything. Super emotional. I'm not crying on national TV.
Ismail's family are now waiting to be assigned an apartment and to start English classes. Pahima grew up under the Taliban's first rule in the 90s, when women were robbed of their education. She's illiterate, now planning to go to school for the first time. I am 100% happy to be here in Canada. I want to learn English and make a safe home for my family, she says.
Hockey puck. Okay, you want to try?
Yeah.
Ismail isn't sure what he'll do for work, but his son wants to be a pilot. His first time on a plane was the one that brought him here to Canada. Government data shows first-generation refugees typically struggle, but their children are much more likely to thrive. And for that reason, Ismail says, there's no looking back.
I hope for myself and my family and stay here, and that's be like starting new life. I try my best. How can I do good thing in this country?